beginning of Fila, there were two brothers, one shop at the foot of the Italian Alps, and a dream. A dream that consisted of creating quality textiles that combined luxury, utility, and art that evoked the richness of the Italian landscape. A dream which became a reality. The Fila brothers created an empire, one which came from humble beginnings and has since grown into a brand valued at $4.3 billion worldwide. What began as a textile shop transitioned into a knitwear company and eventually landed in the sportswear industry, all while holding firm to the brothers' original intentions of products that promoted luxury, utility, and art. When an accidental overstock in inventory forced Fila to slash their prices in 1988, they also made a graceful transition into the growing streetwear community. This mishap made them widely accessible to urban markets and launched them into mainstream status in the 90s. Fila's reign in the 90s hit its peak in 1997 with U.S. sales amounting to $687 million. Their decline in sales called for a transition of power in 2007. Headquarters in Italy would now be based out of South Korea under the direction of Jin Yoon. Yoon is clearly doing something right with Fila, ranking 3rd for shoe companies in Korea and 11th in popularity of shoe companies worldwide. Their strategy in Korea seems to be working for them, but as the board here knows, I will be focusing on the advertising and product strategies of Fila North America. A positioning strategy that spans across all Fila subsidiaries is that streetwear is affordable. For the North America branch, as well as for Fila Korea, sneakers for sport take a backseat to fashion. As for the design of the sneakers themselves, most are considered chunky and they tend to keep in line with the recent high-end trends. Advertising is minimal. There has been no commercials on TV since the 90s, and after a few months of myself frequently visiting Fila's website, I have only received 2 ads for the holiday season. For sponsorships, some partnerships from the 90s have been re-signed. Here is a comparative look at Fila's revenue in relation to similar brands. In 2019, Fila racked up a total of $2.9 billion in sales. As portrayed on the chart, they have seen a dramatic incline in sales from 2016 to 2017 and have since been on a steady incline due to a resurgence in 90s fashion. They manufacture a variety of sports brands, however, lifestyle and fashion sneakers have been their main moneymaker. New Balance is a sports footwear brand that is closer to Fila's revenue than most other competitors. It rivals Fila in regards to price and puts more of an emphasis on their performance shoes rather than their lifestyle collection. Puma is similar to Fila in that they have more of an edge on the sneaker front compared to other brands. They have been known to keep up with trends and have produced sneakers in line with those of Fila. While Nike is able to dominate in every sports-related category, many of their products come at a premium cost. A few of the reasons why they excel in their industry, the rest of which I will touch on later, is that they're able to balance innovative designs with performance, all while finding an inspirational message to do so. When comparing Fila with similar brands, there seems to be a considerable difference between those who detract the brand and those who promote it. Among the 3 listed here, Fila has only 35% of promoters compared with 69, 58, and 61 ratings for competitors. What these numbers tell me is that there is, unsurprisingly, a lack of customer loyalty towards the brand. From my research, Fila North America, as opposed to Fila Korea, is uninvolved when it comes to managing their impact on the environment as well as being involved in social change. These are issues which the target demographic of 12 to 34-year-olds deeply care about. The number of detractors at 30% also tells me that there are people who are not only indifferent to the brand, but also who have negative opinions toward it. One likely reason is the lack of customer support. From surveying social media pages and chatter on the internet, I've come across many complaints and negative reviews of customer support not answering or reaching back out to consumers. Since Nike is on top, I've included them on this slide to go over why they've been able to capture 27.4% of the athletic apparel industry. Their bold designs and innovative techniques are able to keep consumers interested and hungry for the next big thing. Their customer service is known to be quick to respond, and they have a customer service rating on the previous slide of 4.1 out of 5. Nike is big on allowing the consumers to personalize Nike creations the way they want, which creates a sense of loyalty to that product. Nike also collaborates with many key celebrities in the sneakerhead community, such as rappers, athletes, and fashion designers. As for gaining new consumers, they have a refined SEO strategy, which I've personally witnessed over the course of my time researching their company. Not only are they working to make their new products out of at least 50% recycled materials, but they are also sponsoring several campaigns for social change. Some strengths of Fila include the durability of their shoes, the price, which is less than higher-end brands, their logo, which is easy for consumers to identify on the feet of celebrities, athletes, and peers, and Fila's legacy, which can be used to their advantage in certain promotional campaigns. For weaknesses, their sponsorships are with athletes from the 90s, which the younger generation may not look up to. Fila's customer service is something that must be renovated in order to gain consumers' trust. Their 90s aesthetic is beginning to look dated. The reason Fila was seeing such a boom in sales over the last few years was due to the resurgence of 90s brands and fashions, most notably the dad shoe. This silhouette is something Fila is known for, but while it's beneficial to have a legacy, it's also important to keep up with the current trends to avoid looking dated. There is also no indication of Fila's environmental and social change efforts that young consumers look for. Lastly, with a lack of sincere feel to their website and a subpar media presence, it is difficult for consumers to connect with Fila. Fila offers streetwear as well as durable athletic shoes, so they are in a unique position to being able to market themselves either way. Other opportunities include increasing their social media presence on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, increasing SEO and ads on social media, and continuing with their idea to reach consumers on the ground level with pop-up shops. For threats, a concern I would be on the lookout for is their inventory of dad shoes, which may quickly fall out of favor and result in Fila having to reduce their already low prices again. Another main concern is that the competition is tough in the sneaker industry, which makes it difficult for Fila to stand out. A necessary step for any large business today is to make the move toward enacting positive social change. It is simply the way of the future, as one study shows that nearly 60% of consumers expect the companies they buy from to be involved in making some sort of positive social impact. I say the brand is in need of some humanization. By this, I mean that there doesn't seem to be much warmth from the brand, and it appears to focus more on sales than on listening to consumer needs. Transparency may seem scary, but I believe it would actually be a step in the right direction. Veja is a sneaker company that prides themselves on their openness to show both the good and the bad, stating in their campaign that transparency is the future. In another study, 81% of consumers who shop online and in store say that transparency is either important or extremely important. The last I ask of the brand is to recognize the past in a way that embraces the future, whether that be through their endorsements, their products, or new methods of operating. Product-wise, Fila needs something that will inspire the consumer to partake in social change. If Fila launches a social responsibility campaign, and they also make a sneaker which is directly influenced and tied to the messaging of that campaign, then that consumer will also feel empowered by wearing a product they own to learn more about that cause and possibly spread awareness themselves. Along with feeling empowered to partake in social change, the wearer will also feel a sense of belonging to the people who wear the same Fila shoes and share the same values. As to how the product is made, it will be important to source the materials ethically and sustainably, as reported 52% of consumers would be willing to pay more for a responsibly sourced product. Besides leaving the consumer feeling socially and environmentally responsible, the product should also be innovative in design to reflect that taking part in change for the betterment of the planet is the way of the future. Prices should be reasonably low to show that anyone can partake in this change. The solution lies in what I like to call the Free Thinkers Collection. This new product line consists of 3 lifestyle sneakers that ideally will appeal to those looking to make a statement of their values through the apparel they wear. Rather than focusing on the details of how comfortable or how durable the product is, This line encourages consumers to look beyond the designs of the sneaker to instead see the idea behind it. What do I mean by this? First of all, Fila can aim to make their sneakers more eco-friendly by beginning the process of incorporating materials such as vegetable or chrome-dried leather and recycled. First of all, Fila can aim to make their sneakers more eco-friendly by beginning the process of incorporating materials such as vegetable or chrome-dried leather and recycled rubber from old inventory. Protecting the environment is among the top 5 issues Gen Z cares most about, and being conscientious about the materials that go into sneakers is a great way for consumers to show their interest in bettering the planet. Besides making a positive environmental impact, it is also imperative to add advocacy for social change to Fila's new list of responsibility efforts. One issue that is well agreed upon to be uncontroversial is education reform. This issue is something especially pertinent to America as we now rank 27th in the world for education. While the ranking isn't horrible, there are still middle schoolers, high schoolers, and college students across the country who would like to see the change happen. While the idea of throwing out the whole education system and rebuilding it from the ground up would be inspiring to many younger demographics, it is understandably an ambitious undertaking for one company. Instead, Fila's role in this could be to start small by advocating for funding to creative extracurricular activities in underdeveloped schools or funding new methods of learning in the classrooms. Besides advocating, another idea would be donating some of the profits made from shoes to those classrooms. The title of this collection, The Free Thinkers, refers to any consumer that wants to be a part of this movement for change, or it can even refer to anyone in favor of promoting creative thought in a conventional and conformist society. This idea partly came to me after reading about Fila consumers who were unafraid of wearing sneakers they enjoyed, and also after witnessing the camaraderie that developed between those who did not care about what others thought of them. The Free Thinkers collection is not only meant to provide a way for the younger demographic to speak out on their concerns regarding education, but it also exists to make consumers feel a sense of community tied to other peers and strangers they see wearing the same brand and supporting the same values as they do. Now on to the actual products. The first and most expensive item. Now on to the actual products. The first and most expensive item in the collection is what I like to call the out-of-mind experience, or alternatively, the brain. This piece is more in line with the emerging sneaker boot silhouette that is projected to be a trend in 2021. Underneath the shoe, which can be seen from the side, there will be what looks like a Jolly Rancher colored brain design that can either be exposed or encased in a clear white material. The body of the shoe is entirely white with red laces that wrap around the front of the shoe and are pulled tight at the back using a pull tab. The sole design would be red and have the same curving style of the brain underneath. The next sneaker takes inspiration from Pink Floyd's song Another Brick in the Wall, which criticizes the education system for producing kids that all think the same. This shoe would be named the same as the band's song, and its design would reflect the feeling of having to conform. Instead of bricks, several gray Fila logos would cover the shoe except for in the middle on the side of the shoe where there would be a larger, colorful Fila swoosh symbol. The last of the collection is for those who want to protest quietly. The shoe is simple in design, but large in its meaning and positive impact on the environment. It would be similarly constructed to that of Fila's flat tops, but instead of the F logo, it would use its swooshing logo on the side with an array of colors. The bottom would also be full of colors with just a little bit peeking out over the side. The design would show that creativity is waiting to be unleashed, and the name of the design could be Free the Mind. With the first sneaker's unique structure, it would have to go for a little more than most would be willing to pay, probably between $100 to $110. By taking into account that the innovative and eco-friendly shoes of competitors range anywhere from $130 to $220, I'd say the pricing is justified. The second and third shoe would be a little easier to construct and would vary between $75 to $85. While this price is still expensive, it is considerably less than that which could be made, as evidenced by the competition. In an effort to save money for the consumer and for Fila, one pricing strategy could be to use discounting for consumers' next pair of shoes, when they return their old ones to be recycled. As environmentally sustainable practices become more commonplace for Fila, the hope is to be able to knock some of the prices down to $65 to $75 so that it may be available to the everyday consumer. The consumer can find the Free Thinkers collection exclusively online at Fila.com and at their pop-up shops scattered throughout the globe. In order to focus on their American consumer base, however, I believe they should open up small shops instead of pop-up shops, which would be located in big cities across America. Streetwear communities would then be able to better visualize Fila in their minds and become more familiar with seeing the brand. The target market for these sneakers would primarily be those attending school ages 12 to 25. Fila can be the first to create the products for the Free Thinkers campaign, but I believe this campaign has the potential to become an annual contest where kids from all over get the chance to submit their idea of what they believe a free thinker shoe would look like. Such a contest would be posted at the beginning of the year, and designs would be rated by consumers on Fila's website. This promotional strategy is a great way to connect with young consumers and to encourage consumer engagement. Before a contest is announced, the original Free Thinkers collection campaign would be marketed toward those who want to have a sense of belonging to a brand and to people with similar values. Commercials may feature young adults who both are wearing a pair while walking down the street and they exchange a knowing look. That look indicates that they don't care if no one else is on board with Fila yet, since they know they are part of something different that is good. While durability and functionality will always be at the forefront of Fila's products, I feel like it is best to first work on improving their image and the image of the types of people who wear Fila. Therefore, I propose an approach that focuses on the social and environmental causes Fila is making an impact in, as well as how a Fila consumer is perceived by their peers. This strategy includes promoting their acts of activism heavily on social media and having the social media team prioritize engaging with the consumer to build a sense of community. I recognize that some of these changes proposed in this presentation would take years to fully integrate, but just as the company made transitions throughout its lifetime, I believe it's in need of another big change. What I ask is not to throw out the two brothers' dream to create products of luxury, utility, and art, but rather to recognize the past in a way that embraces the future, a future of positive social change, ecological responsibility, and feeling of belonging, of which the average consumer is actively searching for.